Alrighty, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is December 27th, 2 days after Christmas. Slowest week of the year. Typically, we all expected that. Most traders are taking off right now. Let's just take a look and see what's going on. There'll be some traders that's still looking for pips. Most money managers and stuff, they're off right now. A lot are. It's very common to take off a couple weeks right about this time. Last week of the year, week after Christmas, historically the slowest week of the year. We already know that, but let's take a look and see. I hope everybody had a good Christmas holiday season. Yeah, let's see what we got. What's Wednesday? I don't think there was any news or anything this week. Let's just take a look and see. I don't think there was anything of significance. Yeah. It's just mostly holidays here. Like even all day yesterday. But yeah, no news. Yeah, so we expect there to be very, very low trading volume, very low activity overall. Like I said, most traders take off a couple weeks here. We're going to take a look and see what's going on. Maybe we can put some points on the board, but expect it to be lower volatility. It's just normal. All right, so let's just get right into it. Buttcorn, doing all right. Good game. Still up. There's nothing to say. Still up. Doesn't look bad. I mean, it's kind of contracting. It's wedging up here. I don't know. We got some targets a little higher. Good game. I want it to go up, but I'm not buying it right now. That kind of thing. It hasn't changed in weeks. Since the beginning of December, nothing's changed here. Same price. Same price it was on December 5th. Nothing to say. It looks okay. Like we sold off a little bit and put in a lower low, and now it looks like it's trying to come and retest a high. It's not the worst thing. It's not the end of the world. Good game, Bitcoin. Come on, you can do it. I want it to go up. I would be happier if it would go down, but either way, I'm cool with it. I'm going to trade it either way. I don't really care about the price. I don't care about the price of Bitcoin. I got over that a long time ago. I'd love for it to come lower so I could buy it, but what I care about is potential movement. I don't care about what the number actually is right now. There's wisdom in seeing beyond that. Anyway, come on, Buttcorn, let's go. I'd love for it to go up. So the diehard hodlers could get some gains. You just got to remember to sell it when it goes up, guys. We've learned this so many times over the last couple cycles. You have to take profits. Unrealized profit isn't profit. Just keep that in mind. You have to sell when it's going up incrementally. Take some out incrementally. You don't have to get rid of all of it at one price level. Just remember as this goes up, the true wisdom is taking the profits on the way up. Doesn't matter what the price level is. It matters what your gain is. Doesn't matter where somebody else got in. It matters where you got in and where you get out. You make your money on your exit, always. Very important rule in trading. It's the fundamental law of trading. You make your profits on your exit. The entry isn't nearly as important. Dollar. Moving on. But yeah, point is I want Bitcoin to go up. Just don't forget to take profit. Really interested in the dollar here. We were just talking about this a second ago before I came on. We're back down on a lower low here. This is getting juicier and juicier every time it comes down. We're watching it. I mean, we're breaking some levels here. I mean, I think this is a daily chart level. We got some buyers down here. We're watching. If this will make it down to the low of the day, I'm definitely going to step in, probably on dollar CAD, and we'll take a look at that. Dollar CAD had a really good entry on that, but it came back. It took a couple days, and it came back and broke the low. So we'll take a look at that in a little bit. It's on the list. We're going to run through the whole list. But US dollar, basically it's down on the low. Good game. It bounced and it started to come up for a couple days and then came back and broke the low. There's nothing we can do about that but wait to get back in it. But the thing is every time this thing makes a lower low, every single time it makes a lower low from where it was before, lower low from where it was before, lower low from where it was before, lower low from where it was before. What's next? If you had to guess. So obviously we want to pay attention to this. Right now the euro is very strong, and that's kind of working against the dollar index because of that yin and yang relationship between the euro index and the dollar index. The euro is the strongest currency right now this morning, so it makes sense that the dollar's down. We'll watch this. We'll check this out, like range tool stuff, lower time frames. We'll look at this in a little bit, lower time frames, but I think it's around the hash right now for group people. It's interesting. It's a lower low. I'd like for this to get down just a little bit more, but might not make it. So yeah, watch the dollar. And then again, the logic being that we're on a lower low, it's likely to retrace. It's just likely to retrace back up from a lower low, and this is squeezing down in. Eventually this is going to come flying out of here. Now we're trying to figure out where that might happen. We'll come back to it. Take a sip of my coffee. The yen made a lower high up here, and it's just kind of contracting it's kind of squeezing in. That not much to do. I mean, it's been down already, but it's kind of back down into the middle. We're kind of, if you look at like where your highs are and your lows are, this little range right here, we're just kind of squeezed back into the middle of it. It's not really the best place to be making a decision from. Since this made a lower high, I would really rather wait for this to make that lower low. If it would come back and break this low right here, the swing low, then back into these untested buyers where we had a clear range break, like an inflection point, not really a range break. I don't know why I said that. Like a structural inflection point. That's what I meant. We had a break of structure, but range as well. This was a high, and it finally snapped. And now as this comes back to retest these buyers that haven't been tested yet, that's where we really want to get involved with that. But right now it's kind of right in the middle. Not really the best place to mess with it. But, I mean, I don't know. We'll watch this on the low. If it broke that, maybe right there, maybe you could get like a day trade bounce. Like if this came down here and would flush out, maybe it bounces up like that. It comes back to retest that right there. That little move could be a day trade, but I would wait for it to go a little lower. Honestly, I'd rather it break this swing low back here, like I said, but we're trying to figure out what we can do today. This is just not it. I mean, it's the doji factory. It's just not it. It's not great. And we're also in the lowest volume week of the year. And I think some people don't understand that part, that it almost nobody's trading right now. So you can't really expect to be too active here. Aussie dollar, again, the dollar is very low. This is back on the high. Man, we had this way back here. What a move. Like we had this like a couple weeks ago. Crazy. But now that it's back up, again, what do you do with it? What do you do with this? For the traditional chartists out there, what is that? That's not it. That is not a long. Again, you got the dollar down here on a lower low. We're already expecting a retracement on the dollar index. So Aussie dollar at some point is going to put in a big red candle. It's going to happen. It's just is going to happen now. How close are we before we get something like that? Remember I said that. Watch the dollar for the dollar to start moving off the low. Euro dollar, same thing. We're on a higher high on euro dollar. Breaking a spike high back here too. Same thing. I mean, what happens every time, make a new high, pull back, make a new high, pull back, make a new high, pull back hard, equal high, pull back, make a new high. Eventually this is going to start pulling back, right? It's just the only logical progression that's, in our future here. It's the only likely thing that makes sense. Now, where might it pull back to? That's a whole nother story. There's a bunch of places you might be looking. It depends on your time frame too. But up here on a big higher high, again, knowing that the dollar is likely to retrace back up, stronger dollar would be weaker euro dollar, Aussie dollar. It's going to be a basket situation probably, where you're going to have like, euro dollar, pound dollar, Aussie dollar, dollar CAD the other way. It'll be a basket against the US dollar. It's coming. It is coming. That's the thing to watch right now. That's the main takeaway already. Just looking at the charts, I can already tell you right now, if you want to skip to the good part, the main takeaway is the US dollar. Stock market's on the high still, going into Christmas holiday on the all-time high, not doing anything, but we got a big level on the dollar. Euro yen we talked about, waiting on this to break the high. Still got the alert there. It just hasn't moved very much. I mean, over the last couple days, very subdued movement, very small body candles, slow trend, but tiny movements. Like if you look at the actual bodies of the candles themselves, each one of these represents 4 hours. It's just not moving very much, but that's normal. It's the time of the year, it's low volume. But on a break of the high, we'll take a look at it. Euro pound, good game there. Back up into supply, nothing really to do here at the moment. I would probably expect some kind of a distribution here where you get this kind of stuff. It'll probably start going flat like that. That's what generally tends to happen at these kinds of levels, where you come back to what I call a structural inflection point, where something changed. You had some inflection here that was changed. Down she goes. Now, as that comes back and starts to run back up into all of this density right here, there's a lot of stuff that has to happen here, because there may still be some traders on the books right here. And as price comes back to those orders, some of them will be getting taken off. Some will be flipping the other way. Some might be putting new orders on. There's a bunch of stuff that's likely to happen as we come back into that. So we're just going to wait for that for euro pound. And what could happen here is pound strength. Could be the euro pulling back down. Euro dollar, we love euro dollar because of where that is. It's up on a big higher high. So, and eventually that's going to pull back. Higher high, higher low, right? But, looking across the dynamic between the euro and the pound, this has already made a good move. It was a good trending move. We were waited for this. We waited for this for like a week. And we got in way back here, and it kind of did nothing for, I think it was like 12 days. Wasn't it this one? Yeah, it was 12 days. Did nothing for 12 days, 11 days straight. And this like, nothing down here. And then all of a sudden it took off last couple days, and big move back up. That's the move we were waiting for. But now that we're coming back into density up here, it's just, that was the move. So now we'll wait for this to distribute and probably pull back a little bit. Could be getting a little bit weaker euro coming up. Euro CAD, been all over this one, talking about this one. We kept getting into it, and on the lower low, I think I remember looking at this yesterday in pound CAD. We're waiting for this to hit, almost hit, but didn't quite hit. But realistically, we would still want to be long here anyway. And every time this breaks to low, we're looking to get long. We want to be long euro CAD, period, end of story. That's all there is to it. If you look at this on the macro, there's a very high likelihood that this is just the bottom of a range that hasn't fully developed yet, and we're going to come off the low of it and end up doing that kind of situation as oil pulls back, probably, which hasn't happened yet. Because oil affects the CAD very heavily. And when that move happens, this is going to shoot up. It'll be right back up to here. We're waiting on that move. This is the trade right there. Monster trade here. We're trying to figure out where we can get into it. How close to the low can we get? But realistically, you would still want to be in it. We had 2 shots at this, before. I remember taking this twice right there. So realistically, we would still be in it. I had to close mine because my account has to be flat on Friday, but up we go is the point on EuroCAD. We're looking for pullbacks. We're buying into red candles here. Every time this dips down and we get a low of the day, we're trying to buy into it. Our invalidation point currently is going to be right here. Yeah. We have a lower low, so we're waiting for the point where we get a higher low. And that hasn't happened yet. So our effective trading range currently is this, and we'll just call it that for now. Yeah, we'll get ready for this because there's going to be a trade here. If this would pull back a little bit, yeah, this would be money. If this would pull back a little bit, somewhere, getting long somewhere down into here, lower, like what I really, if I could have my wish, it would be something like this, to come back, maybe make a higher low, equal low, and start to roll back up. That would be money. And it will be. It will be. Write this down because it's going to happen. Euro Kiwi, same situation. Look at this structure. We've been watching this one for weeks. I mean, we're way down here on the low. This is easy, very easy trading decision right now. This is as easy as it gets, guys. As far as what decision we need to be making, super simple. Not like we don't have stuff to do. It's just we're kind of waiting to we're waiting for it to actually happen. We're already jumped in on this. I don't know why that's there. That would need to be up here. This particular swing trade, you're looking at 375 pips there. It just hasn't really gone yet, but it hasn't died yet either. This hasn't even been stopped out at break even yet, which is kind of ridiculous, but that's the part of the year we're in. 7 days flat. But if you look at where we are, we're very low. Same thing here. You're looking to buy into red candles. It's crazy because the euro looks like it could be weaker coming up, but maybe not yet. Maybe it's going to go one more time. But a few of the euro pairs are so far down that they're longs only, and moving into Euro Aussie, that's the other one. Euro CAD, Euro Kiwi, and Euro Aussie. All 3 of them. This is just not a short, guys. It's never going to be a short. Like in sell side liquidity here below a very well-defined range, that we are in the money right now, and it's clearly stopped and accumulating. We're accumulating the sell side liquidity. This is very, very clear, very easy decision. It's long only. If you want something to do, long Euro Aussie. It's very simple. There is no other way to look at it. So there you go. There's throwing you a bone. If anybody needs something to do, Euro Aussie is your answer. Euro Kiwi, Euro Aussie, Euro CAD. But if you look at where this is, there's only one decision to make here. On a lower low, in the sell side liquidity, it's just never going to be a short, ever. It's not. So the question is going to be, where's your exact entry? And we can pull the range tool and, we'll do all that stuff, lower time frames with the group. But, realistically, yeah, I mean, we're holding above equilibrium. This is a long. Our projected high of the day is in supply. Like, it's only a long. If you're looking for something, there you go right there. Matter of fact, here's what I'm going to do. Euro Aussie. I'm going to take a little nibbly doodah there. I'm not even going to worry about a couple pips. It would normally wait for it to pull back and get a more efficient entry, but I'm just going to let this roll because it's a higher time frame. This is more of a structural trade than super strategy trade. I'm not super worried about a couple pips. The idea being here, there's a very high probability that one of these candles soon is going to be bullish like that. Like, it's just very high probability. that there's going to be some kind of a move up off of this low like this. It's just easy decision. As far as the decision making part, it's easy. But we've been waiting for this for a while. How many times has this been on the low and it's held so far in our buy zone? Been watching this since last week. It hasn't really, it's moved off the low a couple times, but it hasn't exploded yet to break the high. But right now, I can't really see a reason to short this. We always try to make a bull case and a bear case for each side and try to see which one is most likely. It's hard to make a bear case here, for the simple fact that, two reasons. This is a lower low after this. This just buried 700 pips into the low, into sell side liquidity below a very well defined range low. This is just never going to be a short ever. Now the question is going to be, where's your exact entry? How much shenanigans is going to go on here? What level of shenanigans are going to go on before that it actually runs? Is it going to spike like this and then take off? That kind of crap. What's going to happen here? And we're really looking at this over the next couple days. At some point, it's very likely going to be higher. And over the next few weeks, it's incredibly likely to be higher. So, we could have multiple chances on this, like double, triple dip this thing. Every time it pulls back, you just try it again. And we'll have an upside bias on this. Euro Kiwi as well. Probably Euro CAD too. But yeah, Euro CAD, Euro Kiwi, Euro Aussie, probably your better opportunities right now. As far as that kind of move, low risk distance move, that's what you're looking for right there. And obviously the dollar stuff, we're watching the dollar for a different reason. All the dollar stuff, the dollar is very low. Pound and euro are very strong today. Not like huge moves pips wise, but strong. It moved 40 pips. It's not like a big massive move or anything, but it's relative to the other pairs. It's very strong. The dollar, the yen, the Kiwi, the CAD, they're not really doing much. The Aussie, very flat overall, very flat, like overall price action here. Just for the most part, everything's pretty flat across. Not really much going on, strength wise, but you've got this very sharp move on the pound. Look at the green data point. Each one of these represents five minutes. Yeah. Very sharp move on the pound, and the euro has been strong. That's basically where we are. Other than that, there's really just not much happening. We got a strong move on the pound today. Pound is green. Green for go. Kind of waiting for a better entry to put on a little bit more risk, but just participating in the market for now. You just have to understand this time of the year is just going to be very slow. You don't want to get caught in something dangerous right now. This can be a dangerous time to trade. Although I do generally every year do like trading if the market's open, I want to trade, but also got to be realistic about expectations and just understand that it's not likely. There's not likely to be a lot of trading volume in the days right now throughout the day. And on top of that, London session has been destroyed. So with whatever they did with Brexit, they just broke London session, and it's just not the same it's not the same market that it used to be. The market is very different, and that's objectively true. Pound CAD. This is interesting too. You got an invalidation point right here. Moving on. Looking to buy red candles. Look at it. When you want to sell this after it just went down like that, rejected off right on the money, back into demand, 450 plus pips, back in demand. Structural inflection point. Like, this is not where you start. You don't want to sell the bottom of a range, right? Because what's actually happening here is this, and you don't want to sell the bottom of it. That's not a good idea. You don't want to sell the bottom after it's already gone. So, we're getting kind of a confirmation move here. Got a little bit of volume there on pull. Let this candle close here in 25 minutes. We're going to get a new 4-hour candle at 9 a.m. If this will pull back a little bit, that would be much better. I'm actually going to set an alert right here. If this will pull all the way back, I'm definitely going to be in this. If it'll come back into that and make the higher low, give me what I want. If for some reason this does something like this, I'm down with that. That transition where we move from lower lows to higher lows. That's what we always look for this kind of move. Let's see. Yeah, not bad. We'll wait for this to pull back a little bit. So maybe something on pound CAD, and this falls in line with the Canadian dollar. I think a lot of the CAD, it could be a basket on the CAD, Euro CAD, pound CAD, Aussie CAD, dollar CAD. It's a CAD based move more than a pound based move. But also interesting here to talk about. Let me go back to this real quick. We'll talk about the correlations and why this stuff is important. Pound CAD, we might weight our risk a little more toward pound CAD, because if we look at euro pound, you can see that the euro has been strong for a while against the pound, and there may be a time coming where the euro is weaker than the pound, which means the pound is stronger than the euro, right? If this is going to distribute and pull back a little bit, probably it is, because it's already moved up. At some point, the pound is likely to be stronger relative to the euro. So if we're looking at CAD pairs and we know that the pound is likely to be stronger than the euro, maybe we weight our lot size just a little bit more toward the pound. And maybe that's going to be the more efficient management of the positions itself. Position management is king. It's everything. And understanding these little correlation tweaks like that is very important. It's just, again, another thing we do very heavily in the group and always have is weight our position sizes that way, and why you would do that. Why it's important to figure out the whole of market. It's a whole of market approach. Why is it important to figure out everything in the market so we can know those little things and know that the pound is likely to be stronger than the euro? So if we're going to take Euro CAD and pound CAD, maybe we'll weight pound CAD just a little bit heavier with the lot size because it has a higher likelihood of going, right? It's a higher probability just by a small amount. The CAD is still the play. But if euro pound is likely to be weak at some point coming up, we're at some point, this is probably going to pull back and be weaker, which means the pound is going to be stronger than the euro just by default. That's how this works. So if the pound is stronger than the euro, maybe we're going to weight our lot size just a little heavier toward pound CAD. And those little tweaks, that's major keys. Pound yen. Meh. Not a huge fan. We're waiting on a retest of the high. Not a fan of it right now for sure. I'm going to swing high here, swing low here. We're right dead smack in the middle. We don't like to trade from the middle. Equal opportunity to get stopped out both ways. There's no disproportionate risk versus reward. There's no clear positional advantage by trading from a neutral point. Next. Pound Swiss. Meh. This one's been trashed for a long time, but it finally broke out of that range. Meh. If it would break the low, I'd probably be looking to go long. Like if this looks like it's going to try to do some crap like this and then run up. That's exactly what it looks like. It's going to screw around a little bit, scare everybody, and then come back up. That's my guess. We'll see what happens later. See how right we are. Pound Aussie. Okay. We nailed this. This is so crazy. Like we nailed this. Anybody remembers the second leg of the move? From right here, I think we were within 4 pips from the top. Let's take a look at this. lower time frames. We got the high of the last couple weeks within, I think, 4 pips, or was it less than that? Yeah. Right there, yeah, 4 pips. We were within 4 pips of the high. We called the high and called the break of the low. This was a short from the top of a range consolidation, spike high consolidation, second leg in the move, and we nailed this. We got it right for hundreds of pips. It was a spike high consolidation, second leg in the move, and we were selling the top of the range. And we got it within 4 pips right there for the second leg of the move. Just nailed that. Like, we were right about the structural move itself. And we're still probably looking to come back and break that low, but love this stuff, man. Like, this was a very good structural call for almost 700 pips. And it was just based on structure. Like, we could see the structure coming. The spike high consolidation, second leg, nailed it within 4 pips, and nailed it. Period. End of story. Got it right. And the break of the low was the move. The second leg, we were looking to short from the top of the range to catch the break and the second leg of the move. This is a market cycle structure thing. This is market cycle playing out, and it was very easy to see it. And we're probably coming back to break that low. If you're short, not a bad idea to take some profit right now, but it depends on the kind of position it is. You're still looking probably for more. Now, intraday, it's a different story. We're probably bouncing here. It would be normal to pull up a little bit. We've made it down into that demand now. We're probably going to pull back up into something like that, and it will probably roll over and break the low again. As of right now, this kind of thing could happen, and then that, but as of right now, for a day trade, these are 4-hour candles. For a day trade right now, will kind of make sense for this to pop up a little bit. I wouldn't want to be short here. Obviously not a good idea. We got a higher low, big bullish candle engulfing. I would let this close, and if it pulls back, you might be able to catch a day trade to the upside. I would sell once it got up. I would get out of it when it popped up, but there may be something there. I could see that happening on the next candle. This looks even better. This broke oh yeah. Yeah, this is money. And this was part of that same thing. Euro Kiwi, pound Kiwi, Euro Aussie, pound Aussie. We broke the low here. Very easy to understand. Market goes down, market goes up, market goes lower. Where's it going to go? Now that we broke the low, what's likely to happen? Stabilization. Even if it makes a lower high, this doesn't have to be hard. Like, even if it makes a lower high, it's probably going to be a counter trend retracement back up. So we're already making the shift off the low right here. It's shifting right now. So we have our invalidation point. We have our confirmed move. It's the same stuff over and over and over and over. That's why we try to teach a man to fish instead of just giving the answers every day. We still give the answers every day, but understanding this, once you start to just see it, you can make efficient decisions. You can make decisions much easier. You just start to see it. It's the same stuff that happens over and over and over in the market. And once you just get used to seeing it, you just get used to seeing it. Probably going to reject here soon. We got a lot of selling up here, and there'll be some trapped longs here. They're going to want their money back. Anybody who went long in here, the sellers won that one. Bears won, but anybody who went long at this level in here, because there are longs and shorts, right? For every buyer, there has to be a seller, and likewise. So as we get price rolls back up into that, there's going to be some longs who are going to want their money back at break even. They're going to be like, oh, thank you for giving me my money back. They held in a drawdown, and then it comes back to break even, right? And they're going to be like, okay, give me my money back. Market's going to slow down, start to distribute. That's how order books work. Why it's super important to understand how this works. It's indicators just don't tell the story. Like, that's not what's actually happening. Understanding what's happening in the order books is just, that's the key. And understanding why, when price comes up here, you have traders that are still on the books here Some are long, some are short. There was more volume short than long. There are going to be some trapped longs here, and as price comes back to that level, there's naturally going to be some settlement that happens, some squaring up of positions on the back end. Globally, think of globally as a combined order book, not just one broker, but think of it as a global combined order book. There are going to be X amount of traders who are long, X amount of traders who are short. The ones who are long in here are going to want their money back. So market's naturally going to start to slow down here as everything gets squared up. Everybody tries to decide whether they want to be long or short. But really, if you look at this, I mean, we probably want to be long. Like, we're way down on a lower low. There's just very likely going to be, this counter trend move here back up a little bit over time. It's just very likely going to move back up. So, this is something important right here. Pound Kiwi, this is an important pair to look at. This is a very high probability trade. Very high probability that there's going to be a counter trend retracement back up, almost certainly to this very clear inflection point right here. Man, it's sneezing. So just above this, there'll be buy side liquidity, money bags above the range high. There was also an inflection point. There's going to be buyers up there. And if you want to transfer your bags to someone who's willing to buy at a higher price, some sucker up here who will take your bags from you that you bought lower, trying to buy low and sell it to the clowns who want to buy it up here, right? So I guess I shouldn't say that, but suckers, we'll call them suckers because that's kind of true. We want to transfer our bags from smart positions to dumb positions. We want dumb money to take our positions from us at a higher price, right? So there's a very likely chance that down here from a lower low, there's going to be some smart money longs that are going to run this thing back up here. And as soon as we pop that high right there, you want to probably get out. And we're looking at hundreds of pips here. This is, even if it barely cracks a low, sometime soon, this is going to be making a 500 pip run. Don't forget about this one. Like, this is easy stuff. Like, giving you the answers here. This is it. Good confirmation candle on pullbacks. We're looking to buy into pullbacks until it stops breaking the low. And what we're trying to do is anticipate that transitional period where we move from lower lows to higher lows and then back on up in the cycle. Right. Just very likely going to happen. I mean, it's the same thing. It's literally exactly the same thing. Drop down, stabilized, popped up. We're trying to catch that pop. There'll be a retested low, higher low. Up she goes. We're waiting for this pop up like this, retested the low, and then gone. Same kind of thing. Exactly the same kind of thing. It's no different at all. It's just happening from a lower low. And when we get that lower low, we know it's time to start paying attention. So we're looking to buy into red candles here. Very easy decision. Spending a second on that because that's one of those bread and butter kind of trades that's just going to make you money. It's easy money. It's easy money. CAD yen. Meh. Not a huge fan of the yen right now. I think we looked at it a minute ago. Hold on a second. Let me switch back to the yen index. Yeah, we're kind of right in the middle. We're down a lot. We've made a move, a continuous move down, but we're not really in a good spot structure wise. As far as the structure itself, we're kind of right in the middle of a range, and we don't like to trade from neutral positions. And yeah, they all look about the same. CAD yen, eventually this is probably going to pull up here and pull back a little bit, but then it might do something like that. Who knows? I think it's probably going to chill here and then pull back a little bit, but maybe not that much, if I had to guess. I wouldn't want to be long, and I wouldn't want to be short from here yet either. It's not a short yet. This one's a little clearer, Swiss yen. We know what we're looking for here. We're waiting for the market to get back to some dense area of supply where your sellers not been taken out. Yeah, a little bit more. It's not really a good long. Depends on how aggressive you want to be. I mean, it's not a short yet. We'll put it that way. But think about it this way. If you're buying it, you're buying the top. You're hoping that it breaks a little bit more. It's not a very good entry. Much better position would be if it would pull back to something like this, then that would be a little better, but wouldn't hold my breath for that either in this low volume environment. You know, we're Christmas week here. The week after Christmas is going to be dead. This is the most dead market you're going to see the whole year is going to be this week. It's a good time to take a break, take a mental reset. That's what most people do right during this week when the market's, I mean, you got to think about it. You're trading in the most unfavorable possible market conditions of the year right now. The lowest volume, the most likely shenanigans going to happen. This is the time when most people take a mental break. Dollar CAD is one of the crazy opportunities in the market right now. Been watching this one, keep catching it, and it keeps coming back and breaking the low, which is okay. It keeps breaking through demand levels. We keep catching it, and it goes and it breaks through the demand level, but we're back at the bottom now. So this is like the last chance for a higher low. Markets do make higher lows. It does happen. Look at your charts. It does happen. If it's going to make a higher low, we're pretty much at the last chance, right? So it's not a bad risk. You know, markets are about controlled risk. Trading is about controlled risk. How do we take risks but manage it? It's managed risk. We are risk managers. That's why they're called risk managers. It's always a risk, but we're managing the risk and we're giving ourselves an advantage. We put ourselves in a position where we have leverage. We have some kind of advantage, some edge in the market, and we manage the risk. We got an alert down here ready to go. It's funny, it didn't get hit. It missed it by like 1 pip. Really looking to get long down here if it gives us a chance. I mean, I think it's obvious. It's like the most obvious thing in the market. Even if it does go back and break the low, it's almost certainly going to run up a little bit first. I hate to, you know, it's one of those things where sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times to catch it, but when you catch it, it's gone. And you're going to be like, well, there it goes. We'll be like, yep, look at, there goes dollar CAD. That's what it's going to be. Somebody will type in the chat, there goes dollar CAD, and then you'll know you missed it. So the only way to avoid that is to take smaller managed positions, manage your risk, smaller positions, stack them in. Once you start to get the confirmation, you can pour into it a little bit. But, you know, if it's going to make a higher low, it's going to be very close to here. I'm talking about a monstrosity of a move. You know, these are the kind of trades that you pass your challenges on right here. Exactly this. Like, this is it. Now, it might take a week or two for this to actually do that, but, you know, you can do it in one trade. You know, just as an aside, like say this makes a higher low. You're willing to risk 1% that it makes a higher low and retests that consolidation, which is very likely. You're looking at a 1 to 4.5, almost 1 to 5. If you tightened up just a little bit, easy to get yourself to a 1 to 5 RR. We'll just say it's a 1 to 5. So if it does not break the low and it pushes back up over the next couple weeks, that's a 1 to 5, right? So you can risk 1% and potentially get a 5% gain. You can risk 2% and potentially beat the whole thing. Probably not going to happen like that. It'll probably be closer to, if it's going to make a higher low, it'll do something like this, probably come back and do this kind of crap. And then you'll get a move all of a sudden once everybody realizes it's not going to, it'll take a while. But how many times have you seen something like that happen? Look at the level, like look at where it is. It's a previous like major high turned low. Like this is a major inflection point. If it makes a higher low, you know what I'm saying? Like it's easy stuff here. Like this is Easy decision. The decision part is easy. Okay, so say that one doesn't go and it breaks the low, then you have a second opportunity. As soon as this breaks the low, you're right back in it. And same thing. So you have two chances here. This right here on the screen is an incredibly high probability of a 10% gain. This is a very high probability of a 10% gain. It's just going to happen. Like, it's just very likely. Looking at where the dollar is, knowing that oil is probably going to pull back down and retest the low, which is going to pull the CAD down with it. So you're going to have a weak CAD and a strong dollar at the same time. And this is why the correlations matter. Understanding the whole of market approach, both fundamentally and technically, this is very likely that at some point this is going to be much higher than it is right now, and we're probably very close to that point. It's either going to make a higher low or a lower low and come back up, right? It's very likely, and what you're looking at right here is a very high probability trade setup. I mean, we're going to catch this trade and we're going to come back and say I told you so. So just remember this. The CAD stuff in general, but especially dollar CAD. Dollar CAD is in a unique position here to be a monster. You got the alert, it never got hit, but we'll wait and see if this pulls down and breaks the low. What we'll look for is we'll watch the range tool and we'll look to buy the low of the day, either the hash or the low of the day every day until this goes back up. You can scale in lightly. There's nothing wrong with doing that. You can take less risk too. I just mean you can do it in one trade, but you could risk, 0.1% and, let it run up. Swing it, just put it on and forget about it for a while. Look at it later. Very high probability trade there. S&P on the highs. This is kind of funky going into Christmas dead week on the all-time high. How about that? Good game though. I don't know. I'm just going to assume that the S&P is going to break the all-time high. I've got it marked here with this red line. That's just the all-time high. There's no magic here. Just want to know where that is. Man. I just want to know where this is going to be. Where's the line? Where's the level? Stuff likes to reach for those levels. No, I do not want to restart Windows. Hold on a second. Take a sip of my coffee. I don't know. Conspiracy theorists unite and think that maybe since the Dow and the NASDAQ have broken their high, maybe the S&P is the last shoe to drop. Maybe the S&P is just trying to do hood rat things with its friends and break the high, and then all three will come down. I don't know. Maybe it's the last hurrah before we start the year. Eventually it's going to pull back. We all know it. Like, it's going to pull back, but where is that going to happen? It's very likely it'll retest a previous swing high. It also happens to be a consolidation there. I think that's a good spot to look back to, somewhere back in here on the way back. On the comeback, it's probably going to be somewhere back in here where it bounces somewhere. And we'll figure that out at the time, but we got to, whatever this is doing right now, all-time high on the S&P. Maybe it's going to go. It's not that far away. It's within a daily range. Like, if this actually ran up all day today, it would break the high. It's within a daily range. Statistically today, it's within a daily range of breaking the all-time high. Now, are we going to get that follow through volume? That's a whole nother question. I don't really expect much to happen today. Maybe we get lucky. I don't know. Maybe it goes over the next couple days. Moving on, the Dow. I mean, this is just not looking great up here. I mean, this is kind of, that kind of garbage, like distribution on the high. Got that big nasty nasty McNasterson right there. This kind of feels like not great up here. Almost like an M in a way. And this is not looking good. These last couple candles, technically a lower high, that doesn't look great. I wouldn't want to be long here. I wouldn't be buying into this today for sure. Now you're going to have a bunch of stuff down here. I would probably watch this. Wherever that lines up within the daily range. Whoops. Yeah. Put you back to the weekly open somewhere down there, if not all the way down. Yeah, back into here would put you down to the low of the day, maybe on lower time frames, maybe right there. There goes the voice liquidation. That would be that we have a full day's worth of volume here too, and that I'm not sure about. This doesn't look good. It's not a long. At least right now, it's not. Like, that just doesn't look like something you want to buy into. It looks weak and struggling, and it's already struggled to try to, struggle bust all the way back up to the high and start to sell off again. It's not great. I wouldn't YOLO it short, but it just doesn't look good. Like, it looks like it's trying to roll over. Like, if this has a bad day here, it might not recover, Remember, we're at the all-time high, too. And the Dow is disproportionately high relative to the others. The Dow specifically is way, way, way up in the clouds, coming off of the lower low. This is a monster move, one of the biggest moves ever in the stock market. Continuous moves. I mean, this is we're coming off of a monster bull run in the stock market right now. Obviously, all-time high, but it's where it came from that makes it more meaningful. We're coming off of a lower low, and how fast that ran up happened very quickly in a very short period of time. Made a very big move in a very short period of time, and we talk about this in the group all the time. The distance relative to time matters. That's part of what we look at. Distance relative to time. It's one thing nobody ever talks about, and it is very important. How far did this move relative to the amount of time that it moved in? I want to pay attention to that. As far as mean reversions are concerned, markets tend to move and then revert to the mean. They expand and contract. And when something expands very quickly, moves a very far distance relative to the amount of short time that it moved in, that stuff just tends to not be sustainable. I don't think there's an economic or fundamental reason for this to be up here. It's just like COVID, like the world got wrecked and the stock market went to the all-time high. Same thing, just nothing to do here. It's up on a high. We'll come back to that. I mean, what do you do with it? It's at an all-time high. Nothing to do, but we're doing our due diligence and looking at the market. We're flat for the last 5-6 hours. Dead on the all-time high. There's nothing. The stock market's not doing anything here. But maybe here in 28 minutes we get the equities market open. Maybe this will start to move. We'll come back to it. There's just not much to do on the all-time high going into the last week of the year. It's like the worst case scenario. Oil reminds me of that. What's that meme where the guy's like, I think it was from The Office or whatever. The dude's drawing all the stuff on the board. And he's like trying to explain why oil is going to do something. He's like got all the lines and strings, post-it notes strewn across. What reminds me of what this is. Me trying to wait for oil to do the thing. Already got in it. It's going. It's kind of a bummer. I wish it would come back and give me the entry. We're waiting for this. It never came back. That just never did anything. If it was going to make a lower low, we were watching it from there, but it never did. So the first long has been correct, and getting in it twice. It's still going. Looking at a 30% gain here on oil, guys. 30% move back up to supply with a 25% perceived minimum. We'll caveat that. 22% perceived minimum back up to where the likely rejection is going to be, but where it's probably going to end up. We're looking at 30% gain here on oil. What I'd really like is for this to chill and pull back a little bit, make the higher low, and then make the move. Give me another shot here. Let's get that transition. Give me another shot to get in on the low. Oil pulls down, the CAD pulls down, we get our CAD trades, and then we take all of our capital out of the CAD and flip it back into oil for the money shot. 30% gain. Let's go. Like that's the plan. But it would be nice if this would pull back a little bit. And if it goes, good game. Hopefully somebody's in it. I do know some people took this trade, some swings, and I know they're still in it. I know 2 people that I know for sure took this, and they're still in it. But yeah, this is one of those that it's going to go. It's going to go. I hope it pulls back to give me another chance. We're going to be buying the low of the week every week on this. Man, throwing money out all over the place here for YouTube. A lot of very good trades setting up. Gold. Meh. Not a fan right now, honestly. I mean, this big whoop-de-doo back here was cool, but I don't know, man. This has been a mess since then. It just messed it up. Good game. I mean, the dollar's been weak and gold's been struggling back up. Now, what happens when the US dollar, let's flip to the US dollar for a second. It's down here back on a low. We're waiting for it to flush out. We got alerts on the dollar. We're waiting for the low of the day on the dollar before we jump into like dollar CAD or anything like that. This still looks good, but we're waiting for the low of the day to match it up. And we know that there's probably a little bit more to go that also happens to line up with the projected low of the day. So we have demand and statistical low saying the same thing. So that's our target. We're waiting for this. Matter of fact, let's get our alert on it, and we'll go back to what we were just looking at on gold and why this matters for gold. Because we know that gold and the US dollar kind of fundamentally they have a yin and yang relationship most of the time as far as the trading instrument itself. Money moves out of the dollar and into gold, out of gold and into the dollar. It's just the way it works. We all know that. So if we can understand what the dollar is doing, we can have a good understanding of what gold is doing. Gold is grinding higher right now because the dollar is grinding lower. But this is going to change violently at some point. There's going to be a violent shift in the US dollar. So in theory, we could probably expect something like that on gold. And I know people aren't ready for that, but we got to be real. Look at what we're heading toward. The rejection point before. Reject, gone. And we're pulling back up to it, knowing that the US dollar is heading toward a low here. And at some point, this is going to stabilize. It will. We all know it. Wherever it's going to be, this is going to stabilize, and it's going to pull back up, and it's probably going to pull back right to there. If I could draw a straight line with this mouse. And when that move happens, what do you think is going to happen to gold? Womp womp. Sad trombone. Right? What's the probability that it makes a lower high? I mean, it certainly happens. A lower high is a thing. It doesn't have to break the high. Now, if it did, that would be even better. If this for some reason did run up and break the high, it's going to be hard for that to happen. I mean, people are going to have to, maybe. But if it did, that would just give you skybox seats to the show. You'll get the $20,000 seats to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl of trades coming off the high on gold as the dollar's on the low, right? Easy decision. It's not hard as far as the decision is concerned. Now the question is going to be, do we try this up here somewhere as the dollar lines up? And we're going to wait for the dollar to line up. Now at the moment, look at there, the projected high of the day also happens to line up with that supply level, which is interesting. Go down and look at our intraday moneymaker. So in theory, if you really wanted to be super aggressive, you're looking for something like that over the, it's not a good entry. It's not a good entry, but if you really want to be aggressive and you really want something to do, and you say, maybe the dollar is just going to finish flushing out, which is, maybe the dollar is just going to finish flushing all the way out. We're waiting for it to get down here. I'm waiting for it to get down here before I make a decision. But if maybe long gold is a way to play the dollar. It's just not a good idea to take it down on a lower low like this. You don't want to, at the lowest point of the day, it's the most dangerous possible point. What if this pulls back up and does this overnight, and then tomorrow it goes down and breaks the low? What if it happens tomorrow and this stops here? That's the problem with selling the low of the day. And in a way, you're selling the low of the day by buying gold. It's not the worst idea. If I was going to do it, I would play gold and not something on the dollar. I wouldn't play like euro dollar. I would play gold if you were going to try it, and just say, look, maybe this is going to run up. Maybe it's going to finish it out. There's an argument to be made here that this popped up, went flat. This long flat consolidation typically ends in a spike high. I'll admit that. That if I had to make a choice, I would go long gold, but with a tight stop. I would obey my stop and expect for it to get a stop run, basically. Expect a stop run. You got a big zone here. If I was looking and I just had to trade gold today and I couldn't wait and I had to do something, then I would probably go long gold, but I would make sure to put a stop on it. And I would fully expect that some stupid shenanigans like this to happen, and maybe tomorrow it gets it would just be normal for this to screw around. Maybe it comes back one more time inside of this range and it just continues the consolidation. And maybe eventually it takes off like overnight tonight or tomorrow morning or something. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing. If you really had to do something, I would probably be long gold, but I would watch it very carefully. And as it got up to here, I'd want to be out of the long and stalking for something different. Again, we're just trying to figure out what we can do here. Gold is just, it's not in a good spot. I know a lot of people only trade gold, and this is just not a good time for that right now, just to keep it real. Gold is not in the best place right now. It's very low volatility, and we're talking about for weeks. Like, this isn't new. You've been very low volatility, grindy moves, except for this one candle right here, which was probably news. The majority of this, look at these candles. Like, each one of these candles is 4 hours. Like, very small bodied, choppy crap. It's garbage. This isn't it. I mean, you're long extended periods of very, very low volatility. When you get in a move, you can't really expect it to move. Like, it hasn't been going. You're not getting the follow through volume. It's not happening because everything got messed up. This thing did a month's worth of movement in 16 hours. We talked about this a bunch of times. This was a month's worth of distance. Statistically, it moved more than a month worth of distance in 16 hours. The whole chart got messed up, and now it's just grinding back through. You got people trapped way up here at the top. You got people trapped short way down here, and it's just grinding through. Nobody wants to mess with it in the middle. It's not a good idea. And, as this work, whatever it's doing, if I had to choose, I would be long. I don't really like the entry. So I don't know. Gold's just not it. But as this comes up eventually, this is going to get much more interesting once it starts to retest the high up here. If it would run up just a little bit more, then it gets really interesting. If it breaks the high, that's the most interesting. The most interesting thing that could happen is that it breaks the high. I don't know about that right now because of where the dollar is. It's certainly possible. I don't think it's going to happen like this week or anything. But yeah, assume that the dollar is going to flush out a little bit lower now. It looked like it was going to hold back here, but it broke through. It looked like the end of last week, like this looked like it was going to hold, and it didn't. So now we're going to watch one level lower. That's trading. Like dollar CAD, like we murdered this, but it came back. It took 2 days, but it came back and broke the low. Like, we got this we caught the low within 2.8 pips and 65 pip move, 64 pips. So, I mean, that was a monster trade. And then look, it took days sideways, days. 3 days, almost 4 days sideways, 3 days and 21 hours from that beginning of that consolidation. Sideways, just flat, dead. Took 3 days and then finally sold off. So, we weren't wrong. It wasn't a bad idea. Same thing here. We weren't wrong. Nailed it. But it took days and then came back and broke the low. Same thing. We nailed it. Ran way up, took days, came back and broke the low. So we're just waiting for the next one. We're waiting for the next entry. Might even get it today. It's breaking the low right now. Let's see. Yeah, so we're looking to buy the low of the day. As soon as it comes into that higher time frame demand, we'll watch our range tool and we know what levels we're going to trade from on the low. Are you willing to try it again, basically? Kind of getting off topic here, getting more into group stuff, but what are the cliff notes here of the market? What's the big takeaway? Buckhorn, good game. Consolidating higher lows though. It is making higher lows, but this, I don't know. It's just, I'm not interested in buying it personally because I'm looking to hold longer term. If you're day trading it, I could understand how this could go higher. We'll leave it at that. I'm sure alts look a lot better with Bitcoin holding sideways. I'm just going to guess, understanding alts, that when Bitcoin runs up and holds sideways, alts are probably doing much better right now. Just caution. Exercise caution at this part of the cycle. This part of the halving cycle, specifically with Bitcoin. Dollar. It's a big takeaway here. We're watching the dollar on the low. It's a big, deep lower low. It's very likely to pull back up and retest that structural area right there. But we'll wait for it to get a little bit lower, and then we'll take a look at it. We'll watch it on the low. We'll wait at least for the dollar to line up on the low before we make any decisions on dollar pairs. But we got alerts out ready. Demand and projected low of the day also right in the same spot. Looks good. Again, it's about probability and execution. Risk management will execute when we get to a highly probable area. We'll manage our risk. Yen, not interested right now. The yen's right in the middle. It's at a very neutral point. I'm not a fan of trading from a neutral point like that in structure. It's just skip it and go to something. Any yen pair, will just skip it for now. Aussie dollar. Again, on the dollar, we don't have to go through everything, but waiting on the dollar stuff. Could potentially take a basket on the dollar when the dollar gets down here. I probably will, to be honest. What's today? I think it's Wednesday. We still got a couple days left. Expect volume to die out significantly over the next few days. Watch the stock market for an end of the year tax selling. That's anecdotally, just on a side note, watch out for something like that coming off an all-time high. It could be after the first of the year, but it's going to happen. There's going to be some wreckage that happens soon. And then we'll be in a couple weeks to a couple months period of pullback in the equities market. Dollar's probably going to go slamming back up. The yen's probably going to go slamming back up. The yen is very low historically too. Remember, we're coming off the all-time low on the yen. What I would guess here on this is that we're probably going to get something like this, and then that as the stock market comes down, the yen's going to go flying. The dollar's going to go flying. It just makes sense. We're coming into a period of some very big trades potentially coming, big moves, easy decisions. Watch the dollar. The dollar is the most important thing probably right now. Stock market on the high. Skip the yen. Euro pound. The euro is likely to continue to be strong relative to the pound, but then get weaker. Could be tomorrow. Euro CAD, Euro Aussie, Euro Kiwi, we're watching on the lows. This would be the exception to the euro pairs, those three. um, because of the basket, the CAD basket. As this would, I mean, there you go. I mean, rejected. There you go. So it pushed up, rejected. As this comes down, probably going to be looking to buy into Euro CAD on the lows, but going to wait for it to pull back. We're kind of waiting. Like, we're just at the point where we're waiting for levels to get hit. But when they come in, you strike on it. When the levels come in, you take action, make an actionable decision with managed risk. Everything should be fine. Euro CAD, Euro Kiwi, Euro Aussie. Make sure we watch those, especially Euro Aussie. I feel like there's just a huge opportunity here. Like, this is just the most obvious thing. Euro Aussie. Skip pound dollar for now. Pound CAD is going to be the same scenario because it's CAD based. This is already shifted and pulling back. This is really starting to look like a good long entry here. If this would come back just a little bit more, I'm going to jump on it. But jumping on it now is not even bad. It's retesting the top of the range for group people. Bouncing right off the top of the range. That's actually not a bad entry, but I'm going to try to wait for it to. I'll take it on the center or the daily open. Maybe we'll look at some of that stuff in a little bit too. The main takeaways here, though, is like, what are we really looking for? Where is our opportunity? If we're trying to put points on the board right now at this time of the year, this week, where can we get those points from? What's the higher probability trades that we can take with the least amount of risk? What's the least amount of damage we can do to our account and still participate? So pound CAD really starting to look good here, obviously. Yen stuff, we're skipping. Swiss, we'll skip that. Pound Aussie, this is probably going to fall into that same category with the Aussie stuff. I could see this pulling back up a little bit. However, the short was correct. Probably want to be out of that. Honestly, if anybody was in that, you would be closing here just to go over the trade. It may go a little lower, but with this looks like this is going to bounce. I would probably leave it alone, though. It's not worth it. Pound Kiwi looks a little better. This is a lower low. Like, this just looks great. Euro Kiwi, Pound Kiwi, both. I would prioritize. I would put those two probably at the top end. Pound Kiwi specifically because of where Euro Pound is. Euro Pound is up on the high, and the pound is likely to be stronger than the euro over the next few days. Yeah, I mean, that's just a thing. I would definitely watch Pound New Zealand as far as an opportunity to put some points down. Pound Kiwi, watch this one. Anytime this gets anywhere near the low or a broken low, like, you want to be buying the low of the day every day on this until it runs back up. Huge potential, hundreds of pips potential. Skip the yen for now. The dollar stuff, we're waiting for this to line up. This is a potential here. Somewhere on dollar CAD, do we want to buy the low of the day? We may adjust this depending on like where our hash mark is, even though this demand level is not a bad idea. It is not a bad trade right there at all. If it's going to make a higher low, I mean, this is going to be your last chance. So, you just want to lower risk on this kind of stuff. Lower risk, more distance. But watching it on the low of the day, we'll wait for this to line up with the dollar. I think there's going to be an opportunity here on dollar CAD again. There was the other day, and it just ran back on us a little bit, but that's fine. Came back, got stopped out at break even. Tried it once there, stopped at break even. Tried it once there, stopped at break even. Try it again. Maybe the third time's a charm, and it runs to the bye-bye zone. Out of here. She gone. Equities all-time high. Caution here. This just doesn't look like good structure. This isn't good, where you get this big, it's almost like Adam and Eve kind of thing, where you get this big nasty sell-off and then it's just struggle. It's like a 3-line strike almost, kind of same thing. Just a struggle back to the drop point. I mean, that stuff just doesn't look good. I wouldn't be buying it here, but if it breaks the all-time high, I'm looking for shorts. Anything above the all-time high. Guaranteed looking for shorts on the all-time high, because what better time to sell than the all-time high, right? Not looking good on the Dow Jones either. Same structure, just not good. We got Mr. McNasty here and then grinding back up and just can't. It just doesn't have the juice right now. It doesn't have the juice. Nas, same situation. It's on a higher high on the NASDAQ. Same thing. It's just I'm not messing with this. You can stick your finger in the light socket if you want to. Let me know how it goes, but I'm not touching it. I'm not messing with that long. I mean, it depends on what depends on your strategy. I mean, if you're in and out and you're obeying your stop, go for it. It's just not for me personally. I'm waiting to see what happens, and also waiting for the dollar to line up. All these major instruments all seem to line up at the same time. You'll notice that. And once everything starts to have a little more clarity and start to line up, maybe we'll make some decisions. It's just, you got to understand, low volume right now. There's a reason why people take off right now. Why people just take a week off, week or two off. Some people take multiple weeks off. It's just the way that it works. And there's a reason why. It's because there's lower trading volume. People are taking vacation right now. A lot of, money managers, they're taking 2 weeks off to go on vacation with their kids, and they're not in front of their machines right now. Algorithms are trading still. Market still moves, but you would expect less trading volume, and that's just normal. It's the way it works. So we're not going to take YOLO positions here and hope that they run, hundreds of pips. We're not going to expect that. We're going to, still make good decisions and trade from good levels, but we're not going to expect a lot of follow through volume right now. It's just that time of the year. But that's okay. That's okay, because it will come back, and it will come back strong. Everybody will come back refreshed, mentally reset, ready to make decisions with their money. Maybe we'll get some crazy politics stuff going on that's going to push the market up. We're heading for an election year. There's going to be a lot of volatility this year. It's going to be interesting. We definitely got good trading coming, ready to roll. We're going to be there with bells on. We're going to knock it out. Not worried about that at all. We're going to push hard this year. It's going to happen. It's going to be a good year. There's likely going to be more volatility this year too, because of the elections, and who knows how that's going to work out. Euro Aussie's looking good. Whatever we did on Euro Aussie, it's in the green. It's the only trade I'm in right now. I just looked over at it. So anyway, see what's going on here. Yeah, bought the little pullback there. Good game. Euro Aussie made sense, right? Let's go. Up she goes, looking for the high of the day. So anyway, hope everybody had a good Christmas. Maybe we got some insight out of this. We're just kind of looking to see what's going on, take a deep dive into it. I think we can see what we're looking for. Watch the dollar, watch the US dollar, watch the CAD, the New Zealand dollar, Aussie maybe. I think it's really going to come down to Aussie, CAD, and Kiwi. And then the dollar stuff is something separate, but also could be tied in. Stock market's at an all-time high. Careful with that. Gold's not in a great spot. But there's some things that could be done. There are some things that could be done. So we'll just carry on. We'll get back going for the week. I took a day off. Not really a day off, but just there wasn't much to do yesterday. But we'll get back in it. We'll put some points on the board. We'll try to get something done before the end of the week. Like I said, we'll try to have a normal day here. 2 minutes until the market opens. I'm going to switch over, do some group stuff, watch the equities market open. Hope everybody had a good holiday, and we'll come back at the end of the week maybe and see what's changed. Everybody have a good one.